When people need a lawyer, they don't call a specialized lawyer. They call the person they know that's a lawyer. I went into one of those like executive suite places, and I had this beautiful desk, and I had 0 clients, but every day I'd come in and shine that desk. I mean, it got so shiny that I could see my reflection in it.
Oh my God, that defense lawyer they're about to file a motion for sanctions, and I don't know, is this gonna kill you?
I actually had to spend like 80 hours on LexisNexis researching this promissory note. And then when I billed the client $150.
Being grateful for what you have and not necessarily wanting something else before you look at what you have already. And I realized that if I looked around, I had everything that I already needed to be content and satisfied. But then once you get to that place, you're like, okay, why do I want more?
Our son, he had open heart surgery about a week old. And, you know, you have something like that is so important in your life and you're going through, and at the same time, you're in trial or you're doing something else. And I think it helps you to realize.
Okay, welcome to the next AlderTalk. I'm here with renowned trial lawyer Chris Montes de Oca out of Whittier.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
So it's so interesting. You walked in and we've known each other for a long time. I know all your accolades, and I'm telling people around there at the firm downstairs. And then you mentioned you're from Whittier, and all these people perk up, right?
Yeah.
They're like, Whittier.
Yeah.
How is it? I know Whittier now because the girls are prettier, and my wife is from Whittier, and I know it from that. But how is it growing up in Whittier, having your practice in Whittier, which I guess is a small town in a big town?
It is. A lot of people don't know about Whittier or even where it's located. My wife, who I met at UC Santa Barbara, I asked her to give me a ride home. And I said, it's kind of by your house.
Did you now?
And she said, okay, if it's kind of close to where I live. And then she realized that she had never even been near Whittier or knew where it was. So it's kind of hidden off the freeways and you don't know where you're at. But it's a great small town. It's kind of sleepy. And I grew up there. I said, I'm never going to live here. And I got away and then I came back home. And part of it was my parents were there too. Wanted them to be around our kids as well.
So, I mean, maybe some people have heard of Whittier College.
Yes,
right?
Whittier College. Maybe President Nixon. He was raised and lived in Whittier, had his law practice in Whittier.
Oh, really?
Yes, Uptown Whittier.
No kidding.
Yes.
Adjacent to Montebello, kind of part of East LA?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you have had your own firm for how long?
2006.
Okay, so what is that? 19, what is that?
It's coming up.
19 years.
Yeah, 19 years.
Damn.
Yeah, time went by fast.
And how big is your firm? Like how many lawyers, staff?
It's just me.
So it's been you for 19 years.
For 19 years.
That's amazing. And I want to talk about that. But, you know, I like to get to know people, but also I like to get to know good people who are successful to try to get behind why you have been successful. And so you got out of law school. Did you start your own practice right away?
Right away. I didn't know any lawyers in the family. And there was one lawyer that a friend of my dad's knew. And I called him and they never returned my call. Right. And so, but I always knew I wanted to go out on my own and hang my own shingle. And so I asked my dad for a $2,500 loan. I went out and got this. Back then we needed furniture, a desk. I went into one of those like executive suite places and I had this beautiful desk. And I had 0 clients, but every day I'd come in and shine that desk. I mean, it got so shiny that I could see my reflection in it because, you know, you're not doing much in the beginning, right? And I got to know other lawyers and I wanted to get work wherever I could. So I did a lot of appearances in the beginning.
Right.
I was living in Seal Beach at the time and I would drive to Santa Monica to do a court appearance for $50. Pay $45 in parking. But I was happy because I was in a courtroom and I was getting that experience of learning how to do things.
So not married at the time?
Not married at the time, but we were engaged, actually. So my wife has been with me my whole career and helped me in the beginning, too.
What do you think? You're fluent in Spanish.
I am.
Right. Do you find that a lot of your clients are predominantly Spanish speaking or kind of a mix or?
It's a mix. I've had, Korean speaking clients, Spanish speaking clients, Serbian speaking clients, Armenian speaking clients, all different types of clients. But in the beginning, I would say Spanish really helped me because I did a lot of volunteer work at the courthouses. So these free legal clinics, I would go there and there'd be a line of 50 people at the courtroom or courthouse, and they needed legal advice, and no other lawyers would volunteer. And so it would just be me, and a lot of those people only spoke Spanish. So it was a helpful thing to...
And then those people either referred you work or you became the lawyer that they knew that got family members, et cetera.
That's exactly what happened. Kind of this word of mouth where I helped them with their issue, and then they knew, call Chris. And that's kind of how I grew my practice.
Well, and I want to talk about that first of all, because a lot of people that watch this, they have all sorts of different reasons. Experienced lawyers, newer lawyers, whatever. But I do get quite a lot of questions from less experienced, newer lawyers. Notice I didn't say younger lawyers because that means I'm an older lawyer.
Yeah.
So newer lawyers, and they think, seeing what's out there now, the way to build your practice and to get clients is to buy billboards, to have TV ads. I don't have the money for that. Therefore, I'm not going to get any clients. And I talk to them about the other ways to network. And it sounds like you started from right off the bat, sweat equity. Talk about how you felt like, in addition to like going out and volunteering with help, how you built your network of referrals.
Another thing I did was join a lot of organizations because I knew nothing about all these areas of law, but I was willing to try them out and do them. So in the beginning, I did bankruptcy, family law, unlawful detainer, criminal defense, cemetery law, everything. I was willing to take it on and put in the time and learn about it. And in fact, my first case that came through my door was for a promissory note. Now, I knew nothing about a promissory note, and this was before really Google, because I started in 2006. So
now we say before ChatGPT.
Exactly. So I couldn't plug it in and get an answer. I actually had to spend like 80 hours on LexisNexis researching this promissory note. And then when I billed the client $150, I was so happy and excited because I was getting to bill someone for the work I had done. And I was proud of it. And you learn about all that stuff. So I think being open to try all these different areas pushed me into those areas. So I joined the organizations, I went to the CLEs, and I met other lawyers there. And really, I made a really good networking referral source by being in those groups.
You're at the promissory note association.
Yeah, some type of contract law
and
convention.
There's probably not many PI lawyers.
Zero, right?
But you became somebody with a connection that said, oh, by the way, if you have a personal injury case, I'm your guy. You got work that way.
Exactly.
Right.
And I kind of didn't really go into personal injury until later. My focus early on was criminal defense. Mm-hmm. And I did it because I love being in a courtroom. When you think of a real lawyer and what they're doing on TV, it's criminal defense. And that's where I learned most of my skills.
You start trying cases.
Start trying cases. You got to do a lot of just courtroom experience, whether it's a preliminary hearing for a felony, or a trial, you're in there. And I think that's really what gave me a good foundation. I remember going to one of my first civil trials, and I was up against the county of LA at the time. It was an MTA bus case. And they had this firm, pretty large firm, Century City firm, a lot of lawyers, and they all got to the courthouse. And then they saw that every attorney that walked by said, hey, Chris, or every judge said, hey, Chris, are you trying a case today? Because they didn't realize I was going to do a civil case, but I was so, involved in that courtroom or that courthouse that I had that connection.
What courthouse was that?
That was Long Beach, Norwalk, Really, it was a lot of them. I was Inglewood.
Well, what's interesting is that if you're not in the legal field
Yeah.
or really knowledgeable about civil versus criminal, if you're a PD, a defense lawyer, a prosecutor, you're in trial all the time.
Yes.
Like literally, I've tried maybe, I don't even know, 125 cases in almost 30 years.
Which is incredible.
Which is for civil is
incredible.
A lot. If I did that same thing in the criminal context over 30 years, I'd probably have 500 trials, right?
Yes.
But what you don't realize is that in the criminal case, you don't have depositions. You don't have these pre-times to question. So much criminal work is on the fly.
To give you an example, in a murder case, you get what's called a murder book, and it's prepared by the detective and the DA, and they give it to you. And normally in a civil case, we have boxes of paperwork that you're having to go through. Literally, in a criminal trial, you'll have one notebook that thick, and that was it. So it's completely different than civil.
And so you don't know what's coming. When you put somebody on the stand or you're ready for cross, you don't have a deposition where you previously asked questions that you know answers to.
No, you're winging it a lot of times.
But what great experience.
Yeah.
To learn how to breathe, to heartbeat control as you move into a civil case where you must be like, oh my God, I actually know what's going to be said before we're talking about shit.
Yes.
Crazy.
It is a completely different, experience. And also I think doing criminal defense, you lose a lot. It's just the way that it is. And I think that helps you to get more comfortable with yourself and not worry about just the victory or how that feels, or am I going to lose? I'm scared about that. No, you're just going to do your best job that you can, and you're not worried about that external factor.
Yeah, you realize my job is to do the best job that I can.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff outside my control.
Yes.
And learning how not to worry about the things you can't control is what a gift that is for everyone who can get to that point, even a little bit, some of the time. Well, I've done everything I can do. From here on, it's out of my control, and therefore I'm not going to wring my hands. I'm not going to freak out about whatever. I'm done. Let me move on to something else, and we'll see what happens.
It's kind of like waiting for that jury to come back. When you're waiting for that verdict, you're stressed, and you're thinking, oh my God, what can I do? And for the new lawyers out there, it's like waiting for bar exam results.
Right.
It's the same thing. You've already done it, and now you're waiting.
And it's terrible.
And in the beginning, you think, oh no, I passed that, I got it. But as you wait more and more time till those results are going to come out, you start to doubt yourself, and you think about all these things. It's the same thing.
Okay, so let's go back to, you go to these organizations, you meet people that are not in the PI field. And I'm talking about now to PI lawyers who are looking for PI clients. You had a varied practice, and over the years, you've been able to really specialize in personal injury.
Now that's all I do. Right. I think the last major criminal case that I had was around 2017.
So did you have a system by which you kept track of people, that you reached out to people over time? Tell me about that.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in personal connection. So I do have, a system of kind of keeping track of different people that I've met and reaching out to them. But I like to pick up the phone still and say, let's go grab lunch. And to me, there's more of a connection in doing that than there is in sending out a bunch of emails. Because I feel like if you have lunch with that other person who doesn't practice in your area, they're going to think about you when they go back to the office, and they're going to get a call, because the reality is when people need a lawyer, they don't call a specialized lawyer. They call the person they know that's a lawyer. And that's really what's been beneficial for me.
And so that's been your practice for your whole career?
My whole career. I was involved with some organizations. So I was like the president of the barristers organization for Long Beach. And so that was the young lawyers, and I got involved with that. And then I was on the board for the LA County Bar barristers as well, and did that. And you get to meet lawyers that are at big law firms. Let's say, Latham Watkins and O'Malveny or whatever it is.
It's crazy how they don't know any PI lawyers at all. None
of them. And they'll ask you they'll call you and say, Chris, my friend's getting a divorce. Do you know anything about that? And they don't know that it takes 6 months even after they file the paperwork,
Right.
because they've never really done any type of law. They're doing a lot of like discovery, doc review, stuff like that. Now, when you get older and you're doing more stuff, but in the beginning as a new
You
lawyer.
mean more experience?
Yeah.
Not older.
Well.
Look, I know, look, Gina and I.
You look young.
When we first got together, we committed to helping each other improve our language. And I took it like a champ, right?
Yeah.
When she's correcting my language. But when I would correct her, she maybe can be a little harsher on me. She's like, stop correcting me. I'm like, babe, we talked about this.
Well, you look really good. What are you doing to stay so healthy? Because the law, it can eat you up. I mean, you know that. And you're running a big firm.
Well, this wasn't about me.
All right. All right. I'm just.
I will tell you that I remember, and maybe we'll talk about this in a little bit. I went through a really bad period in my life. Like I think a lot of successful people have gone through, the bottom of the barrel. And it's that process of learning how to pick yourself up, to learn the skills necessary to consistently push away your demons, push away the whatevers so that you can get on track. And I remember, I've been in CALA and been a part of the trial lawyers for 30 years. So I had a 15-year, 20-year career before I kind of started to stumble. Not in my practice, but in my personal life, divorce, whatever. And I gained a lot of weight, drinking, eating too much, not staying up too late.
Right.
And it was really, I was starting to go to the conventions and people would see me. And then I had like a year to a year and a half. Once I had started to like stop drinking, I said, it's either put up or shut up time. So I put up. And I remember guys who I've known for 25 years see me the next year, and I look a lot better.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in shape more, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. Yeah. But I remember I had all these guys come up to me at Cali and go, dude, what is the fucking pill?
Yeah.
Did you take a pill?
What's the secret?
Right? And I said, well, I stopped drinking. Oh, fuck that. I get up at 4 every morning and I eat sardines and I get, and I'm like, look, I have realized that they ain't nothing for free.
Yeah.
And I have realized that the hard stuff is hard because it's worth it and it's effective. And so when people say to me, how do you feel good or feel like you look good or whatever, and I don't want to talk about looking good, but discipline, pushing yourself, holding yourself accountable, marrying a younger Latina wife.
That'll keep you active. Yes.
Having two little baby boys.
That's it.
But happiness is more, I should say, contentment.
Yeah.
Being grateful for what you have and not necessarily wanting something else before you look at what you have already. Yeah. And I realized that if I looked around, I had everything that I already needed to be content and satisfied and challenge myself in a way that I could do this for the rest of my life. I didn't need anything more.
Yes. Beautiful.
That doesn't mean I'm not trying to do more. But then once you get to that place, you're like, okay, why do I want more? And then it became so I can help more.
Yeah.
So that I can give more. So that I can help my children learn how to give more.
Yep.
And maybe there's experiences that money allows you to do, travel or whatever. But then you're like, shit, I love helping people.
Yeah.
And that makes me the happiest.
Yeah.
So if I can make more money, I can help more people.
Yeah.
And that's my motivation. But what a beautiful thing when you have enough, whatever it is.
Yes.
in your own mind to go from there. And I get a sense that you are there. And you and I've been around a lot of people, and I can intuitively see what people have gone through. And I don't know if you're going to share or not. I'm not asking you to, but I get a sense that maybe you had some hard times that you overcame, because who you have become requires sometimes trial by fire. And I see you at the highest level, and not many people get to there without having to hit their head against the wall.
Well, thank you. Yes. I have had quite a few, trials and tribulations.
I'm not trying to pry, and I don't mean to do that. I'm just saying, when people say, man, why would you tell people about hard times? I'm like, because everybody's had hard times.
Yes.
And the people that I respect the most, that I like to hang out with, are people who have had really hard times and have persevered, because that's a bond, and that's a steeling of your soul that's required. And then you can tell, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody like you is as successful for as long as you are without having a good mindset over a long period of time.
Yeah. I think that comes from my parents, my dad too. I looked up to him because he struggled a lot. So, he's an immigrant. He came here with nothing, and he made from Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. And he, created a wonderful life for his family and himself. He's a business owner. He's a jeweler. And he's had struggles throughout the years where he's been hit on the head with a crowbar and put in a coma, or burglarized, and they've taken his entire life savings. And it's such a thing to lose everything, but he never threw up his hands in the air and said, like, I'm going to quit, or I'm going to go do something else. He said, just get up, you're healthy, you keep going. And I think seeing that as a role model is really important. And he had a pretty bad burglary around, he's had multiple, but around 2017, I want to say, around that time too, maybe a little bit before. And it was just devastating. And that was one of the reasons I moved back to Whittier, was I said, I'd like to... what they did is they came in through the roof, these burglars, and they blew up the safes, and they took everything. And then, of course, it never rains in Southern California, but it rained that weekend, and his building was damaged. And, it's very difficult to get insurance for jewelry. Most jewelers don't have it because the premiums are so expensive. So when they take that from a jeweler, that's like their 401k. That's everything, all the materials. And then they take people's jewelry, which, let's say, even if it's only worth so much, it has sentimental value. So they want more for that piece of item, and it's devastating. So I came back, and, that's one of the reasons I moved back to Whittier too, to be around them. And I said I'd be his tenant and redo the office and make it office space too. But he's been a really big factor in that. I've had a lot of, experiences. I'm lucky to be alive. My wife, she lost her dad at a young age too. And I think knowing that you have time that's limited makes you realize what's important too. And I think that's another thing that I've seen in my life. Incredible. And then our son, he had open heart surgery about a week old. And this was something that wasn't expected. We went to a routine doctor's visit, and they told us to immediately drive to the nearest emergency room.
That's terrifying.
And then we had our daughter with us, and then we had to go to Kaiser Sunset, and then the only place that does this surgery is Children's Hospital of LA. And we had the surgery there, and he had something called a coarctation of your aorta. It's like a candy cane, except it's closed. So the valve is too tight. So they have to go in there, they cut open his ribs, split everything open, and open it up and add, extra skin to it to make it bigger, the valve. And luckily he had a good surgery, but then while he was being rolled away out of that surgery, he crashed. And so they had to do a second surgery in his room, which, you know, as a lawyer, you don't do surgery outside the operating room, especially at Children's Hospital of LA. So that was a big thing. Luckily, he had a good recovery and he's doing great. He's our, you know, miracle baby. But it was quite an experience dealing with that. And then, you know, you have something like that that is so important in your life and you're going through. And at the same time, you're in trial or you're doing something else. And I think it helps you to realize, you know, your family is so important. Exactly.
No shit.
So,
Somebody, I was reading something a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was a Ryan Holiday book.
Oh, yeah. Great books.
And one of the things he said is, the Stoic said, is this going to kill you? And if it's not, don't sweat it.
Beautiful advice.
Right?
I love that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that defense lawyer they're about to file a motion for sanctions and I don't know. Is this going to kill you? No. You're going to survive this? Yes. Then chill.
Yep.
Take it down a notch or 5.
Yeah.
Right? Now, some stuff then when you put it in perspective is like big deal. But what it does is it allows you to appreciate the times that, stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
Those roses are your kids in the bed with you watching a TV show or, right? Or for me, one of the things that really hit me was I tried a case in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I don't know, three months ago. I jumped in at the last minute. I'm walking through the streets of Manhattan, about to go to the Southern District of New York Federal Court. And I was just walking and I'm like, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah. Incredible.
I can't believe I'm doing this. And then I said, you know what? I will never likely be here like this again in my life. And I appreciated it so much.
You are in the 1%. 99% of people might have a moment like that in their life, and they never took the time in that moment to stop and to reflect on that, right?
And I said, what do you want to do, Mike? I said, well, tonight after court, I'm going to go walk on the Brooklyn Bridge.
I love that.
Right? Yeah. And I'm like, what the, who am I, right?
Yeah.
And we're so busy about, they scratched my Ferrari, right? You're like, is that going to kill your ass?
No.
Okay? Now, I get that a lot of people's response to that is, well, you're going to lose your edge. And I thought that for a long time. I'm like, well, if I feel too much, I'm going to lose my edge. And I have learned that whatever you thought your edge was is so far below what your edge will become.
Yeah.
When you open yourself up to additional possibilities. It's really amazing.
That's beautiful.
So I want to talk about the edge that I just know from last year. So here we go. You're talking about, I'm doing promissory notes, I'm sweating this. Fast forward.
I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the best speaker, but I will work the hardest. I promise you, if you're putting in 10 hours, I'm going to put in 20. And I think that is the key to being a successful lawyer.
Well, I remember, I think last year we were talking about a case you had coming up and I was trying to help with some, I forget exactly what it was, but you were asking me for something or I was trying to help you with
I've been doing that for over a decade.
No, I know, but in result, then I see you at the Cala Gala in January and I'm like, how'd that case go? And you go, I settled it for $45 million.
Yes,
so I'm like, what?
Yes.
Bravo, first of all.
Well, it's not me. You know this. It's about having the right case, right? And a lot of lawyers come up to me and say, oh, how did you do such a big case? Well, you have a terrible, sad case to begin with, right? These clients. And so in this case, it was the saddest case. It was a mom and son who were walking to get dinner together at their favorite Chinese restaurant when one of those flyaway buses, the ones you park your car and it takes you to LAX, it just hit them both in a crosswalk. And they had the right of way. The bus didn't even
Catastrophic injuries or death?
So for the son, it just grazed him and he was bleeding on his head. And he sees his mom go flying like a rag doll, and she's been in a coma now for over 2 years. The son bangs on the door for that bus driver to come out and help. Help me, come out. He takes his white t-shirt off. He puts it under her head because she's just gushing blood. Help me, he's yelling. He grabs something on the ground and he throws it at the window, and it shatters the bus window. He sees some guy walk over who's laughing, and he's like, why are you laughing? Stop laughing. And the guy's videotaping his mom dying. And then he pushes the guy, and the guy falls and like cuts his arm or something like that. Another woman walks over and says, tell your mom you love her because she's going to die. Finally, he hears sirens. Thank God the police are here to help me, because that bus had 50 people on it plus the bus driver. Not one person came out.
Damn bus. Craziness.
Turn around, you're under arrest. And they handcuff him. He's an African-American male. They put him in handcuffs. He says, can I call my dad to let her know what happened to my mom? No, you're under arrest. I mean,
okay, but I think it's even hard to get your mind around. But in order to have a case that you settle for $45 million, you had to turn down 5 or 10 or 12 or 15 or 25, and that requires perspective, but it requires fortitude, it requires courage, it requires a great relationship with your clients. How did you build that?
All of those things. And I think you learn that from doing other cases and making mistakes, and you learn, what works and what doesn't. But I think it comes from within. You were talking about having that moment of perspective when you're in Manhattan. I think it's the same thing. I had that moment when I began this case, that step back. Like, you've been a lawyer for a long time. This is what you're meant to do. You love it. If they never offer you $1, we're going to go to trial, and we're going to show that jury, and they're going to offer fair compensation. And if you think like that from the beginning, I think it's much easier, because you're never worried about the little carrot they're dangling. So in this case, they actually they threw out so it was a complicated case because the city of LA, instead of having its own employees drive these buses,
it was private.
They had all these subcontractors who then subcontracted it out. And so they said, independent contractor, we're not responsible. And so from day one, they denied liability, and they hired these big law firms, and they paper you with all this information. And what do I do to that paper when it comes in besides throw it in the trash? No, you're past that document. You're going to go to trial eventually. You're going to get there. And so you're just patient. And I think that's hard to do, but it's important to get what the real value is for these clients.
This will be a podcast for just that case, right? At some point we'll do a podcast for Jim. But isn't it interesting how you have a case that you've resolved for more money than most people will ever resolve? I've never settled a case not that kind of case for that much money. Most people will never have that experience, and yet you started taking anything that moved, right?
That's it.
And that's a testament to sometimes small, ordinary behavior done over a long period of time, building and learning, that develops confidence, that develops good habits, that develops a good mindset, that gives you the confidence to know that you can try a case, which allows you to take a case and have the fortitude to then get a resolution for your clients of a significant amount of money.
Yes.
That didn't start last year. That started 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And bravo, man. Bravo.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I mean, you still look like a baby to me.
Yeah.
But I know you've been practicing for a while. But it's been a pleasure to get, we've known each other for a long time.
We have.
We've been trying to do this for a long time.
Yes.
I'm so happy that people can kind of get a glimpse, just a little one, into your life and your experience, because You really exemplify all the things that I talk about all the time. You live it, you do it. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And the last thing is, I see it in you and I see it in myself. I love it. I think if you love what you do, you're going to be successful at what you do. And I really genuinely, I read the appellate opinions because I want to see what's going on. And people think you're crazy, but you love it.
You're a law geek. Like I'm a law geek. People are like, what do you love to do? What's the one thing that upsets you the most? And I'm like, bad legal work. That drives me berserk. Right? Yes. They're like, yeah, but what if somebody stole from you? I'm like, yeah, whatever. If somebody hit you, I'm like, whatever. They made a typo in their complaint. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So it's so funny. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We'll do this again. And I'm glad you were here to see the office.
Yeah, I love your office. Right? Beautiful spot. If you guys haven't seen a beautiful art collection, I recommend you come to Mike's office.
It makes a difference, right?
It does.
We were saying, and I'll end with this. If you want to have a good party, you need multiple bars. You need great music and a big dance floor.
Yes.
If you want to have a great office, you need a lot of light, high ceilings, and a ton of artwork.
Don't forget to invite me to both.
Those are the secrets. All right. Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So please reach out. If anybody has any questions, comments, please reach out here. And we'll see you on the next AlderTalk. Come on now.